Alright guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about ground controls, E30 M3 full bolt-on coilover system for the E30 M3. They already make it for the non-M3s. I guess they're a little late on the race here because obviously KW also has the same kit now where you just literally bolt it on. The only difference, I'm going to explain the only difference is this is a factory E30 M3 spindle, strut tube, whatever you want to call it. E30 M3s, however, have a lower knuckle, and the lower knuckle is what bolts the lower control arm and the tie rod together. Obviously, the suspension geometry is different from a standard E30, on top of it being 5-lug. So ground control has their full kit now. It's full bolt-on, fully machined, welded, everything done here in the US. They developed theirs to where you don't utilize that lower knuckle anymore. It's all part of the tube. And yes, I know some guys are going to be saying, well, I can't run the bump steer correction plates, blah, blah. Well, ground control has already integrated that, and they actually have, I believe, a couple options. So I think this one's like 15 millimeters over stock. But, and I'm not talking down on KW or anything like that. The products are great. It's just I personally love ground control. I put them on all my cars. Never had an issue. Anytime I've had a problem, whether it be fitment, I mess up hardware, missing hardware, literally get it overnighted from them. They're always ready to help me. So, which is great. And I've been dealing with them for quite some time now. A lot of cool things that I like about the ground controls versus the KW is, one, the lower knuckle is just beefed up. It has reinforcements. I think the KW is made like 100% like mimicking the factory, which is great. If you don't drive your car hard or you don't beat it up, obviously no one intends to beat the shit out of their cars that much or where they need extra reinforcement. But to me, living here in LA, you never know. I'm not the worst driver, but I'm not the best. I make mistakes. I hit potholes. I've hit a couple curves here and there. So having all the reinforcement beefier setup is great. You still can retain the dust shield, the bearing cap, the bearing dust boost. Everything's bolt-on. You literally just transfer over your hubs, or like we're doing on this car, we're going to install new bearings, new hubs. Another cool thing or great thing that I love is every single ground control coilover kit that I buy already comes with camera plates, shock mounts, and this is all CNC billet. What bums me out about KWs is they don't come with strut mounts or camera plates or any sort of strut mount. Yeah, you can utilize the stock ones, but if you want full adjustability and whatnot, camera plates is the way to go. And this is ground control's street touring plate, which I love because it has a beefier bushing and it has a bearing for the spring, so you don't get coil bind or anything, and it's a camber plate. So this is my go-to setup. And now for the E30 M3, now we're just gonna plug and play. And where these things, in my opinion, used to be super overpriced, now to some are gonna be worth it. I think I remember paying like $2,000 for a full set at one point. I just bought some the other day that were like $500, which is great because for people who don't want to spend, a lot of money doing a 5-lug, this is perfect. Because you do it the correct way, you keep the wheel fitment, all the mess out of having to run adapters, all that out of the way. You buy a set of these, you have E30 M3 5-lug with zero issues. So I'm very excited. This is the very first kit that they've made. We are going to be doing some R&D, making sure that everything is how we want. This particular set is about 2 inches shorter than stock, which just means that by having the spring fully adjusted up, you put this on, the car will be 2 inches lower than a factory will be, which is great because you can run a full-size spring, no problem, and you still have plenty of room to adjust. Rear shocks that they supply are also modified. They're short ends to give you more travel. Whatever option on rear springs you want, they'll give it to you. Everything's super nice. This is the single adjustable on the top. You can get these in double adjustable, but obviously for this particular car, we don't need that. We just want, this is a street car, single adjustable, more than enough. So we're gonna install this, show you guys how it installs, and ultimately, once we get the car driving, we'll be able to tell you guys how it drives, how everything fits. But from experience, everything's gonna be great. And I can't wait to get, I believe I have like 5 or 6 sets of these on order. So anybody who's interested in these, just hit us up and we'll get you set. So we have Jackson's car here, E30 M3. He purchased this car all stock, slowly modifying it and making it his own personal E30 M3. So we are going to be doing a full interior. It's getting the, the Evo cloth, SRDs in the front, Alcantara headliner, all that good stuff. But we found a little bit of rust in the cowl under the windshield, like almost every E30 M3 has. So we're ripping out the interior to drop off the car at the body shop because he wants that fixed. And he's also getting an Evo wing, Evo spoiler, and getting a few touch-ups. So right now we're gonna finish stripping the interior and then drop it off at the body shop. Once it's done at the body shop, we'll show you guys the interior that's going in it. All right, little update at the body shop. We stopped by, visit the gang. I think I gave you guys an update on Jackson's car. We were stripping the interior. One, because it's getting new interior, and because we, it's not that we found some rust, we kind of already knew that there was some rust on the cowl. And originally we didn't know it was that bad. But he saw it, then so I scraped it. I'm like, it's kind of bad. And I'm kind of glad he decided to move forward with it. Clearly, as you can see, the whole car is sanded down. This wasn't part of the plan. This is kind of happening for a lot of reasons, but you can pull in here closer and look. This is a super common issue. They get rotted through. Go ahead and point the camera right in there so you can see. So normally that's a little drain hole that all E30s have. There's one here and one over there. The problem is that when people install aftermarket windows or just from the cars being old, collecting dirt, those drain holes clog up and there's nowhere for the water to go. So it's literally just stagnant water sitting in the bottom of the cowl, or the windshield here on the top of the cowl, and it rots them away. And typically you only see this in E30 M3s because the windows go glued on. And unless you have a really good window installer, You know, window guys are really sloppy because they don't, I mean, they're just fucking putting on a window, they slap on a bunch of fucking glue and call it a day. Thus resulting in this. So we're gonna fix all this rust. It doesn't require replacing the whole cowl. So we're not gonna be doing that. We're just gonna be patching up. We already looked at everything. My brother and the guys determined that it doesn't need a full cowl, so we're not doing a full cowl. But this car did have a bunch of dents, and Jackson did want me to like PDR them. It had a few dents in a couple of the hard lines that weren't on the other side. I'll show you on the other side. So it had a few dents here in the quarter panel, like, you know, one here, right at the line. And no matter how good PDR is, like, you know, it's right at the line. You know, we couldn't guarantee, or the PDR guys couldn't guarantee it was going to be absolutely perfect. On top of that, when we saw the car in the sun, it was super obvious that the fender and the door was resprayed at one point, and it was done pretty poorly. So, you know, one thing led to another. We were installing an Evo lip, an Evo spoiler. We were gonna do the window trim. We were gonna respray the bumper. So it kind of snowballed into a full paint job. And it's not like a full restore. The car is actually really solid. There's not that much body work that it needed, but the front fenders were screwed up. So somebody had previously bonded them and whatnot. So we straightened everything, rolled the fenders, rolled the rear, and obviously it's gonna be a glass out paint job, but it's not gonna be full blown tearing it all apart to paint it. And that's only because the car's gonna be a driver. I think if it turns into restoration, he's not gonna wanna drive it anymore. And I really don't want that. I really want him to drive this car. It's not a garage queen, you know, it doesn't have 50,000 miles. It has over 150,000 miles, even though we've already gone through the motor and all that. I want him to enjoy
it. Many minutes later.
All right, we finished this Diamond Shorts E30 M3 a while ago, but we never really had the time to like show you guys how it turned out. This was a car that we had at the body shop that started out as like a mild build, coilovers, big brakes, engine refresh, not a rebuild. And it kind of evolved to sort of a full build. We ended up painting it, doing a full interior, different wheels, Evo front lip, Evo wing. We did like the red tape on the bumpers, Euro grills, black headlights, Euro filler, things like that. So if we'll show you that this car was like disassembled in the body shop. Well, it's together now. Fresh Diamond Shorts always looks so good in my opinion. Like I said, Evo lip, we went with the smoke turn signals, smoke hella. These are depots, but smoked hella style. Headlights, all fresh powder coated trim. Of course, George went ahead and did the interior. Leather wrap dash, consoles. He did the steering wheel, seats. Everything's all redone except for the carpet. The carpet was gray, it was good, we left it. Did not paint the engine bay, again, because the plan was never to go as far as we went on this car. But it's not horrible, I don't hate it. We did do everything else on it. Powder coated the valve cover, powder coated the plenum, refurbished the throttle bodies, 0 leaks, went through everything. Phenomenal car to drive. It feels amazing. We did pull the carpet, put all sound deadening on the bottom, on the roof, inside the doors. Did kicker components, front and rear, no sound system, nothing crazy. Super subtle, OEM++. Great car, amazing to drive. A little underpowered, about 150 horsepower underpowered, but it's nice. It's a very solid 160 wheel horsepower. But it's great. I love it. Customer loves it. We still have to let them drive it around. My son's bugging over here. Dile hola a la cámara. Yes, if you please. But hold on. Solid car. Customer loves it. Great to drive. Again, it went from we were just gonna do mild things, coilover, some suspension work, to literally touching on almost every part of the car. If I was to do it again, I probably would have stripped the engine bay, painted it, done everything. But it's not bad. The bay, the engine, everything's solid. Customer loves it. That's the most important part. I think the car turned out phenomenal. Drives really good. Man, I've driven some E30s that sound like they're literally falling apart. And there's not technically anything wrong with them, but it really goes to show that age takes a toll on all this plastic and things like that. So when you take a car apart, put it back together, consciously thinking, I don't want this car to rattle, this, and it. This goes to show that if you take the time to do it, these cars turn into a dream to drive as far as like comfort compared to all the new cars. So hope you guys enjoy it. We're gonna be shooting the car, which you'll see a little later in this video. And if you have any questions, just comment.